Hayden in North Carolina, you are on the line with...
What's going on?
Yo, this is Jimmy and Alyssa. How are you doing?
Hello.
Doing all right. Happy July 4th. Yeah.
I guess.
I don't think I'm not feeling very patriotic today, Hayden.
Not at all.
Yeah, after that call, I can see why.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. He was Australian. I do kind of hate Australians more, and that's the American way.
Yeah.
Hating other countries, other people. Anyway, Hayden, what are you calling about?
I'm just confused of why people are out in the streets, going protesting, saying like no kings and stuff like that. Because we're obviously not turning into a monarchy.
Is that obvious?
I myself think it's pretty obvious we're not, but other people can differ.
I agree we're not turning into a monarchy.
What's that?
I think I agree we're not turning into an actual monarchy, but go on. Go ahead. Okay. I'll tell you what I do think in a moment.
So I don't believe why, because we have a bill which monarchies do not propose bills like fully into like a Congress of people to have a decision, but people are still believing that,
You're aware. Okay, so let's go with a couple of things. You don't believe we're turning into a monarchy. Do you believe we're turning into an oligarchy?
No, sir. I do not believe we're turning into an oligarchy.
I agree with you. You want to know why?
Why?
I think we've been an oligarchy. Like, I don't think are turning into. I think it's now the expansions of the oligarchical power is getting crazy. There is definitely a monarchy type of thing, but we're mostly using the imagery and the phrases of the history of the world. So when we describe right now, the easiest stories that come to mind of sort of authoritarianism and it's my way or the highway, more people will be familiar with monarchies of the past and the way they treated the peasant class and the way that they were authoritarian than they will even be of current examples. But certainly we are actually describing something more like a pseudo-democratic fascist regime, because you are aware. Okay, can we agree that Hitler was a fascist authoritarian?
100%. Hitler was a fascist person. He was horrible.
Right, and authoritarian, yes?
Yes, sir.
Did he come to power in a democracy?
No.
Yes, he did.
He did? Oh.
Yes. So what we're describing is the same thing. They used democracy. They had bills. They passed laws. They voted on it. But the actual representation of the people kept getting eliminated further and further down. So Hayden, when you're here saying like, we just passed a bill, that's democracy, that's not oligarchy. What percentage of the people in the United States supported the big, beautiful bill?
I'd say over 50, like half of them. Like
let's
most Republicans, the Republican
number.
Party. Okay, let's find out. Yeah.
Sure. I'm looking it up for you right now.
All right.
I will tell you it's not what you just said, but
it isn't? Oh.
No. Also, even if we get, and I don't know the answer yet, this isn't me trying to like figure out a way to word it. What percentage of people even knew what was in the bill? This is part of the ridiculousness of our democracy, is that not only have we become a pseudo representative democracy through gerrymandering, you don't actually get the representatives your state should have. So it's only fake. It's fake in that it is representative, but then we actually completely capitulate any lawmaking to these people, and we don't in any significant way punish them if they do the wrong thing, because we more pay attention to other people who tell us whether they were good or bad than evaluate them themselves. We capitulate a lot of our own responsibilities. Across multiple major polls conducted in June of 2025, between 29 to 31% of Americans said they supported the bill, while a clear majority opposed it. Quinnipiac found it 29% support, Axios 29%, and then the polling average reported by G. Elliott Morris put support at 31%. So if only 1/3 of the country, which basically describes who actually voted for Donald Trump only, if only 1/3 supported, should it have passed? 3 in 10 Americans.
I don't believe it. Actually, that's a great point to bring up. I do not. Now that you say that, I don't believe it should have passed.
So if I then describe to you, that's the reality, if you go and you do your own research, you find out it's true, our question should be, if most Americans didn't want it, why did it pass anyway in a democracy? And if the answer is because Donald Trump wanted it to, that means one man mattered more than, let's just estimate in our head what 70% would be. What's that? 225 million people, roughly, if the population of the US is around 330. 225 million people's desires was lesser than one man. So can you understand then, from the perspective of people who are tracking, that time and time again, we are doing horrible things like the implementation of alligator Alcatraz, which has almost no support. Even Republicans are like, that seems pretty extreme, except for the most extreme MAGA people. We're having thing and thing again happening against the will of the people because one guy wants it. Now, do you understand where the slogan "No Kings" comes from?
Yeah, I understand that now, but I agree with Trump, most of his agenda, but I agree with you there. He has some extreme points like Alcatraz. That should not be reopened. That was practically a torture chamber.
So what do you?
I also believe we should not have gotten involved with Iran and Israel. Let them handle it all by themselves.
Oh, definitely don't let Israel handle it all by themselves. But yes, cut off offensive weapon shipments at the very least, 100%. For sure. But don't support them committing a genocide. But definitely don't. If you just let them do whatever they're going to do, Gaza would be stopped quickly. How dare you wear a hoodie on the 4th of July? I don't know what the relevance of this isn't a hoodie. This is a cloak. I've started a cult, or I've become a handmaid. You decide. Anyway,
Hayden, what about Trump? What about his policies do you support?
I support his economic policy, the tariffs, 100%. I don't like how we are getting ripped off by other countries.
Are we?
I feel like we are. Yes, sir. I feel like
go
we're
ahead and give us
an
example of a time we're being ripped off by a country in a way that they're not, that we don't do right back.
Okay, 100%. So, for example, China, we trade with them a lot. Mm-hmm. They up their prices for us, but while the other countries they trade with, they keep their prices lower and normalized.
Yeah, that's pretty well been debunked. We actually have great trade relationship with China because we buy more. We actually get better bulk prices than anywhere. There are tariffs on certain goods. By the way, we use them too. And the tariffs usually go like this. This happened with Canada a few years back. Canada had suddenly America had an excess of eggs. So we were trying to send our eggs into Canada, eggs and milk. It might've been milk. I don't remember, but we had an excess of something. We'll just go with eggs. We tried to shove them all into, which was actually going to hurt the local economy in Canada. So Canada, being Canadian and going, we have to take care of ourselves, put a huge tariff on eggs to make it impractical. We do the same thing with lots of industry where we go, our local economy to this thing is super important. If we allow surges of that shit to come in here, then we are going to end up, basically, we're going to have Americans go poor while these foreign exporters become rich. And so America has prevented. Now, by the way, America also does the reverse. Right now, you cannot get a cheap electric car, even though we should be going toward electric cars because of these massive tariffs we've done. Whereas China is ready to sell us electric cars for under $30,000 a pop, except that there are multi-100% tariffs on them that are going to, if you wanted to, it basically makes them more expensive than a Tesla, despite the fact that they are actually in practice cheaper than a used car. So it is literally something that is done by both sides to try and, in some cases, when it's just, you could call it actually okay to do, wholly in a way, is to protect our people from becoming poor because of the influx. However, we do the tariffs to protect people like billionaires like Elon Musk and prevent them from getting excess competition from foreigners, which isn't going to hurt local communities in the same way. In fact, it can help a lot of them by giving them cheaper cars and forcing Tesla to innovate. So again, what you are describing is a thing that we're mad at them. By the way, that's not the defense Trump uses. Do you know what Trump uses? Do you know what it means when he says we have a trade deficit? Because that's his defense.
His defense, I believe he uses it as actually, I do not know. I may sound uneducated. I'm still deciding what political party is right for me.
I'm engaging you honestly.
I'm pretty young.
I'm engaging you
Yeah.
honestly, like you don't know, and that's fine. Hayden, what grocery store do you like the most? You're in North Carolina. Do you have
Giant or like Wise.
All right, so let's say you go to Giant and you spend $100 a month at Giant. I don't know what it actually is, but you buy $100 a month of products from Giant. How much does Giant buy off of you each month?
Hell a lot. Dude.
No, how much do they buy from you? Like things that do they buy clothes you make? How much food?
No, they don't.
No,
sorry. That brings a point. If I make clothing for them, say I make clothing for them, they buy it, but I don't buy it. I don't make clothing.
But I'm asking right now, literally for real. Hey, let's go with how much do you think you spend at Giant in a month? Do you mind answering that?
Like 300.
Okay, how much does Giant pay you in a month for things that you are selling? Exactly. So you have a trade deficit with your grocery store. You have a need to buy from them. They don't have a need to buy from you because they are the source. Now, is that unfair? Should they be forced to buy $300 of goods from you?
Yeah.
Yeah. What $300 of goods? We are a consuming nation. We buy from other nations because we consume more than they consume. We do export some stuff. It's mostly like survival stuff because we have farmers, we have access to certain things, but we don't export near as much. So the whole thing that he's saying, we have a trade deficit. We all have trade deficits with every store. Apple has not bought a single phone from me, and yet I buy a new fucking phone from Apple every other year. Like, I have a trade deficit with Apple. Who's going to force them? And so he basically comes and says, okay, well, they spend we'll just go with $1 billion. It's much more than that, but they spend $1 billion less buying from us than we do there. So we're just going to add a tax that just gives us that $1 billion back to us.
Yeah.
So now imagine you could go to Giant and you can make them buy, I don't know, like you whittle something out of wood and you go, okay, Giant, you have to buy this thing made out of wood. And I spend $300 a month here. You have to buy one of these a month for $300. That's what his tariff policy is.
Okay.
That's what a trade deficit is.
I mean, yeah, I appreciate you explaining for me that. I'm not really like a big politics person. I just wanted to call in and talk about it because I'm just like a little confused on the monarchy and stuff like that.
Do you have any other things? I would love to disillusion you of any other positive policies you think he has, because genuinely, if you are a person who cares about humanity, go ahead.
Like the whole Doge situation. Is there something like are those what he said during his speech when Trump got inaugurated? All the things like the transitioning mice, the Saudi Arabian like kids show. Is that true, or was that just propaganda?
I know most of the things that they ever declared were a thing either didn't exist at all or they were misrepresenting what the usefulness of it was. So if they were transitioning mice or not, I don't remember. I hope they were.
They were not.
Okay. I hope they were. Or I hope there's something you could represent as was, because the fact of the matter is we do medical testing on animals. So maybe we need to stop that if we're going to talk about it unilaterally, but we do have citizens who are trans. And should we or should we not check whether or not medications for trans people are safe? If we have citizens, should we be finding out if their medications are safe or not?
Yeah, I think we should, but like,
so then you would be in support of transitioning mice in that scenario if that meant testing on mice to find out if it was safe for humans.
Yeah, but I'm not, my personal beliefs, like I myself do not think a human should transition gender unless they like are in pain, like mental pain. But let's just, you know what I mean? Let's
go with first of all, mental pain. Who decides whether they are or aren't on mental pain? Isn't that a thing of like, if you are depressed, should you be the person who reports that you're depressed and then get treatment for it? Or should you have to go and convince a panel of non-medical, non-psychological experts that you are depressed before you get treated for depression?
No, you should not have to. You should not do that. You have. So why don't we? If you feel you're depressed, you should go.
So why don't we allow trans people to be also in charge of their own psychological state and to seek out from medical professionals whatever the best medical treatment would be for them in that scenario?
kind of got me. I'm not gonna lie, you got me there.
Yeah, look, and I hear you that you're worried because you've probably heard other propaganda that people are doing it willy-nilly. Nobody's doing it willy-nilly. Nobody, to put very crassly, nobody looks at their penis and goes, I don't care whether it's there or not. I like that it's there, but I think I'd be more popular if I got that thing modified and then just goes and does it for the gram, right? It's not, this is a very personal thing with people. And by the way, it is such a small group of people. It's a small group of people who consider themselves transgender and an even smaller group who do any significant level of medical transition. And yet they are pretending this is the biggest issue in the world. And all we have done is by making it the biggest issue is made sure to hurt them more and not give them access to care. But your day-to-day life, Hayden, has not gotten better because other people now can't transition or can't have on their birth certificate whatever they want.
Yeah. And Hayden, when we provide care to people, for the trans community, for the LGBTQ community, when we provide care that is supportive of whatever their preferences are without judgment, we also increase the likelihood of them staying with us for longer. When we strip those services away, the rate of suicide for that community drastically goes up. So it's, you know, like we were talking about the example of depression. If this is what will keep them on this earth, then I don't really understand why anyone else. I agree. Yeah, like it shouldn't be anybody else's intervention. There shouldn't be any other intervention aside from what they discuss with their doctor, which would be the care professional who knows their all of their health information and can give them the best options.
Yeah.
But let's definitely transition mice. I do want to make sure that I've made it clear that I am for that.
It also, what they were actually studying was transgenic mice, which was like a DNA. It was a DNA study on mice. So it had nothing to do with transgender people. It was just looking at DNA in mice. And Trump misspoke, as he often does, and said transgender mice, which was not what was happening.
I don't know. There's a whitehouse.gov website that claims it now. I'm teasing.
Is there?
Yeah. Yeah. If you go to whitehouse.gov/ what is it? It's something crazy because this is what the website is now.
I also there's on the website. There's a thing. It says fake news CNN, like postering it there. Yeah. That's just hateful. I do not agree with that.
Anti-First Amendment too.
It is very and on the first day when he was at the stadium, he signed a thing saying the First Amendment will be restored. Just
okay. So look, by the way, I'm just going to look at, there was the transgenic mice thing. The reason why I never go like that for sure wasn't the thing, and I try to hedge my bets is it wouldn't have surprised. You could probably find things, and this is on their website, so I'm not trusting that these are true either. However, these do sound like the kinds of studies we do. You could represent it poorly that way, and I'm still okay with it if they happen. But apparently there was $455,000 to a mouse model to test the effects of gender-affirming hormone therapy on HIV vaccine-induced immune responses. I hope that that's true. I hope that. Right. But again, the people who are reading this are just like, fuck trans people. I want them to die of HIV. Like that's what
I don't wish, you should never wish death upon anyone. Many like trans people, if they're like Republican. In a group.
Then don't vote Republican. Democrats, people just die because they're too busy patting themselves on the back for the the few sick kids they actually helped and ignore the rest of the thing. Republicans actively try to kill people they don't like. Like that's what their policies do.
I don't think every Republican candidate wants to kill off a certain group minority.
I agree.
Anyone
there was
that
about
runs for
3
any party
Republicans
can do
who didn't vote against the Medicaid cuts. I think it was. Those 3 maybe are not, but literally the big beautiful bill cut Medicaid to people who need it. By 2034, what was it? 11 million people and counting, going up. Some estimates are that high, but by 2034 it'll be 11 million for sure. Are going to lose their coverage. So Medicaid healthcare is not even in our country, we know it's not about like, oh, you have Medicaid. I bet you're abusing it by like going to the doctor and what? Getting an extra prostate. You're going for recreational prostate exams. It's literally to live, to be alive. There's not a lot of, it's not full of people with Munchausen's and hypochondria just spending all of your money.
Right. Well, and also when people are on Medicaid, the healthcare that they're receiving is oftentimes terrible. Like if you think that it took a long time to get in,
people get the best Medicare.
They get the best care for sure.
Yeah.
And if you are on a government subsidized healthcare plan, many times these doctors are super booked. We were talking earlier about how you would have to schedule an appointment 6 months in advance, and that's if you have like health insurance that you're paying out of pocket for, that you got in the marketplace or through your job. When you have Medicaid, it is so much worse. It is so much worse. And you're also going into areas that are like crowded a lot of time. I don't know. This was my experience when I had Medicaid, because I had that coming out of the pandemic. And I felt like every area I went to, it was like super inconvenient, really hard to find. The doctors were like in weird buildings. Like the whole experience showed me how much, if I didn't believe it before, my God, did I believe it now, that I don't really understand what they're talking about when they're saying that people are scamming healthcare. Like Jimmy said, for what? People just want to be well, and why shouldn't they? And also there's still limits within Medicaid. Like you can't go and get a checkup every week if you want to and have that covered. Like they're very strict on what you are allowed to do in a year. So, it doesn't make sense in practice, but what ends up happening is Republicans like to have they've created this conversation that the poor people in this country are freeloaders and that they don't work, and they're taking advantage of the people who are middle class or people who are in the upper class, that money is going to trickle down to everyone beneath them. That's literally never happened. That's never happened. And the whole narrative is that poor people are just like waiting around for handouts. And in reality, that's never been the case. These are people who just want to be able to like go to the dentist and get their annual checkup, or when they are sick or their kid is sick, be able to go and be seen. And I don't understand how that is taking advantage of the system.
I mean, Republicans have blocked every step of the way dental care being categorized as medical care. That's what you need to know about Republicans and their understanding. Granted, they think the earth is 6,000 years old, so maybe they don't know that the teeth are a part of the body. I don't fucking know. Hayden, what would you say if we just wanted to do one more before you go? What is the best Trump policy?
I'm going to say... This is a tough one. I'm gonna say the canceling the Paris, like getting out of there, save some money.
Why?
I just think we didn't need to be there. I think Europe should focus on that. I think our Earth is going to be fine.
Why do you think that?
I mean, right now it looks like it's fine. So
Hayden,
unless something drastically changes.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a very brief sort of world history lesson on this, because it really isn't. Hayden, how old are you? If you don't mind.
I'm actually I'm 14. I'm just calling because because I'll be able to vote. I'll be able to vote in the next election. So I just want to like get to know politics more,
So here's the crazy thing. I'm 35. I'm 21 years older than you. I'm not old, but I'm not young, right? And here's the deal. I've seen the climate change. And this is the thing that is crazy to me, is that I know everybody older than me has noticed too, that the storms have gotten worse. The summers have gotten worse. People who lived where I live in Texas 10 years ago were like, I've lived here my whole life. Summers were only unbearable starting about 10 years ago. You could survive them. Like, it is happening while the global averages are happening decimal points at a time. In the local places where the biggest effects are happening, they aren't by a decimal point. It's not only going up by a decimal. The first summer I was here, we had over 100 days above 100 degrees with zero rain in a row, over 100 days of that in a row for the summer. I literally watched animals. I'm not joking. Where I was living at the time in Texas, just north of Austin, I would watch animals fall out of trees dead from heat exhaustion and heat stroke. Birds, you'd have to
That's
remove
terrible.
dead birds from your backyard. There was like any given day, you might see a wild hog just dead on the side of the road, turning to leather basically because it was happening so fast. But also on top of that, as far as like your world economies and everything goes, when you talk about the volatility in a lot of places where there's a lot of violence overseas in the Middle East, they are along these lines where droughts have been longer and hotter and worse, and droughts drive poverty. The number one indicator of radicalization and violence is poverty. Climate change is literally responsible, in part, America's done a very good part of it too, for increased amounts of violence, increased amount of radicalism. So when you say Europe should handle all of that over there, America is getting all of the consequences, including if you're for fiscal responsibility and our tax dollars not having to be wasted and all of that, the amount of that we are pumping into the air, because people will go, America's bad, but China's worse. Why do you think China is cooking the planet so much? That smoke, those greenhouse gases that are going into the environment over there are from manufacturing for American consumerism. The Chinese contribution to global climate change is largely from America consuming. We just moved it over there. We're polluting their air instead of ours, and we're adding from over there instead of ours. Every step of the way, it's already getting worse. The thunderstorms, the frequency of tornadoes, the billions of dollars spending on more and more. When Hurricane Andrew happened in the 90s, that was the biggest fucking hurricane in decades. We thought it was because that was like the first, like, oh, wow, every now and then you get a giant hurricane like this, but you hear about one, it may even be less often than that. It might be every 50 to 100 years. We've now had several since that one. I think it was 1990, somewhere between 96 and 98. We've had like 10 more Hurricane Andrew sized hurricanes in just those 20 years. Since then, we actually, I lived in Louisiana. We moved away 2 months before Hurricane Katrina hit at the area where we lived. It is already happening.
I would like to add one more thing. I'm not one of those delusional freaks that doesn't think global warming exists. I know it exists. It's there. I don't think we should be worried. I do think we should be worrying about it, but I don't think we need to make a pact for it. I think we should all focus on it ourselves, trying to make it better by turning ourselves greenhouse gases, making less of those and stuff like that. I don't think we should just ignore it until it dumps on us.
The biggest contribution for the damage to our climate is on a corporate scale. So even if every single person decided that they were all going to switch to plastic straws and electric vehicles, which is not really possible, like it's not really feasible to get this amount of people on board with changes like that, we still would be making the tiniest dent in the damage that's being created on a corporate level, which is why it's important that we have other policies in place, because the corporations have to be held responsible. So what's happening a lot, Hayden, and you'll see now that we tell you this, you'll see it all the time. There's this pattern of shifting the responsibility to the consumer. So what should be happening is the bulk of the damage is being done on the corporate scale. It's being done at an exponential level than a consumer could ever be responsible for. And then they'll tell us as the consumers that we need to use paper straws. We need to reduce the amount of plastic that we use in our homes. We need to be mindful of the clothing that we buy and discard, which all of these things are true. And it's important that we do those things just to be kind to the earth and be like a little bit less impactful. But then you have companies that are discarding millions and millions of pounds of clothes into landfills that they created and aren't going to sell. So then what difference does it make if I, as an individual, have decided to donate my clothes instead of throw them away, if there's a company that's going to have millions and millions of pounds of clothing that they're going to create into like this garbage island? So that's why the policies are important, because we can do what we can, as consumers, but the real change has to happen on a systematic level.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Was your biggest problem with the Paris Accords being that it was European? You feel like it's the EU, but if the whole world came together and did something, would you be for that?
Yeah, I would be for that because
Cool.
if the
Just
whole
so you know,
world,
that's what
if the
happened.
whole-
That's what happened.
yeah, if the whole world wants to wait, the whole world was in it. I'm not really educated in that.
How many countries do you think that are recognized to exist in the world?
Almost every, a lot of pretty much every country that's on the geography map that's printed on the map.
It's generally accepted that there's 197.
Yep.
Okay. How many countries do you think joined the Paris Accords? Do you think it was just the EU?
No, I'd say EU, Middle East, and parts of Asia.
195 of 197 countries signed the Paris Accords. So whoever told you this is a European thing, it's called the Paris Accords because they signed them in Paris.
Honestly, I don't. Now you you explain. I appreciate you explaining this to me. Trump's a terrible person.
Yep.
And now let's just see from 4 years' time how our country turns out. If it's bombed to the ground, or if we're still alive and doing well.
Yeah.
By the way, you might still be alive and doing well, and others might not be. Let's not just look at for our own personal selves. Let's look at how. Because right now, if I'm looking around at just the people who have been hurt so far, that's enough to want them out. I posted this on Threads, and I genuinely believe it. The American Revolution was fought over less.
I appreciate you guys enlightening this for me. I was blinded pretty much. I bought a MAGA ad because I like the hype, and I just didn't look. I should have researched it more.
Community's appealing too. And right now, if you're a young man, you're going to be more accepted in a MAGA community than a lot of other communities. And that, unfortunately, is a thing that the left needs to work on. Because as much as we are mad at white dudes, we have to make room for them and make them want to be there. And unfortunately, I'm an atheist who's been fighting on behalf of getting people out of religion. I've understood for a long time that a people's perception of their community matters more than whether their community is right. And that's a lesson that the left kind of needs to go. And it has to be we need to be right and an appealing place for people to be. Yeah.
I think religion and politics should not be connected together at all. It's just messy.
I get it. Hayden,
It is messy.
Yeah. We're at a half hour, so if you do want to call back and talk about why you're a theist, do that on another day. But you were pleasant to chat with, and you honestly engaged. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, thank you for calling. And also, it's Hayden, really admirable that you were able to be on this call and say, I actually don't know anything about that. Can you tell me about that? Never lose that part of you, because that will you will be the most knowledgeable person in the room, because you're going to continue to ask questions, and that's going to be so important. And I commend you so much for doing that. And you were a great call. Call back anytime.
Thanks, you. Hayden. All right, you guys have a great day, great weekend. Happy July 4th.
I have the highest hopes for you. Thanks, Hayden. Hey, do you think this clip just fell out of a coconut tree? No. It did. Okay, now technically I did build the channel into a coconut tree, and it did fall out. And also that our internet router is up there. Actually, in a lot of ways, this production fell out of a coconut tree. But we could only afford that because people like you supported us for $5 a month over where is that, Eric?
Patreon.com/calltheline. And
that's right.
Jimmy will,
you got it.
Yeah, be grateful. Yeah.
We have an exclusive patron podcast over there. Check it out. Thumbs up with it, Eric. We talked about this in the meeting. We have to both.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Okay, there we go.